Okay, cool. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go into this presentation here. Has that come up for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course, make it a bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to go into September next week. So I'm recording this. I will obviously share this in the WhatsApp group, but I'll also put it into the the Sustainable Fat Loss Challenge group as well, ready for September. So hopefully this will motivate people, educate people, support people, maybe understand why we want to be tracking our steps, why we want to be active, moving. It's not just about steps, it is about just overall activity levels, raising up your NEAT, which I'll explain, and just going into like say burning calories, living that healthier lifestyle. So simple steps for better health and a stronger you as well. And I'm going to go a little bit into like not too much into training and diet, but obviously not just focused on steps, not just that one area. There's like so much more in a way while keeping it super simple. Okay, so for starters, we want to get out, we want to get active, we want to get moving. So walking is one of the easiest and most effective ways to boost your health physically and mentally, and it's great for fat loss. Okay, so ultimately it's down to a calorie deficit, which I can go into briefly as well, which you guys who are watching this now will fully understand and know about because you do it. I say the next best thing isn't 20 minutes of hit training or hours of cardio or whatever you want to do, starving yourself, eating rabbit food. It's, just simply moving more, being more active, being able to like enjoy your food, enjoy your life, not feel burnt out and tired all the time and have good energy, good confidence, and yeah, overall sustainable fat loss, sustainable, manageable weight. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the power of NEAT. So NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay, so NEAT is the energy, the calories we burn from non-exercise. So that's kind of like our not so much planned stuff. If we went for a run, yes, that is like moving, very similar to walking, but it's like a higher intensity. It's planned. It might be something like a 5K park run or something like that, or it might be a bike ride. You might be swimming some lengths. You might be going to an exercise class. That's all like planned, organized exercise, or even like playing sport, for example, like five-side football or anything like that. So we're talking about NEAT, which is non-exercise activity, like walking, and then just like cleaning, DIY, chasing after the kids up and down the stairs a little bit. Like I'm talking now with my hands. I'm at a standing desk. I'm kind of raising my NEAT levels by creating this environment for myself. And things like I've got a walk pad and one of the common ones is I always say to Gemma, my wife, we'll all like pile up the recycling on like an area of the kitchen. Whereas if we just walked out and put it into the recycling bin every time, we're going to raise up our NEAT levels. Our kitchen will be tidier, and that's like a little life hack there where we can just like put that bit of cardboard in the cardboard bin outside rather than letting it build up into like a cardboard mountain in the kitchen. So it's just little things like that. And obviously through time, like our NEAT naturally decreases because convenience is out there. We've got like a co-op on the corner. We've got like Just Eats. We've got delivery. We've got Amazon. Yeah, everything's just like comfort. Even like a dishwasher. We don't like wash everything by hand anymore. We can sort of stick it in the dishwasher. So over time, convenience has gone up and NEAT has gone down just through like our life. So it's really important that we try and put a little bit more focus onto pockets of time when we're going to raise up their NEAT levels. So NEAT helps with weight management. Uh,
I've been known to play the ironing game.
what's that?
I iron downstairs and then I have to put it away every time I've ironed an item. So I have to walk upstairs.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I've been, yeah, that's me, the ironing game for me.
What's like one t-shirt
One
upstairs
item and then you've got to go and put
the
it
wardrobe?
away. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Say little things like that. You can say you've turned that into like a yeah, like almost like a bit of a game or a little bit of a challenge for yourself, and it all contributes into getting your steps. It's trackable. Yeah, it's
Got to
good
go
going.
upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, it's not just getting left at the bottom of the stairs like something. Yeah, that's another common thing for people, isn't it? There's like a collection of stuff at the bottom of the stairs because no one can be asked to go take it upstairs. And
I um I saw a really good it was a TikTok, I have to say, and but it was a really good one where a lady who was working from home, she had a 10 kilo weight with her, and every time she went downstairs to make a cup of coffee, whatever she did, she carried the 10 kilo weight with her downstairs, So she just held it here like a plate and she carried it downstairs. And then obviously she brought like a cup of tea back upstairs, carried on with working. So she had this 10 kilo weight either by her desk or at the bottom of the stairs. And every time she went up or down the stairs throughout the day, she took an additional 10 kilos with her because she was saying her job, she was working from home and her job was really sedentary. So
Mm.
she was just trying to increase her activity levels as much as she could around what was possible. So she had this 10 kilo plate, and literally everything, every time she went up or down throughout the day, even like on bedtime when she went up in her pajamas, she
Yeah,
went with this 10 kilo weight with her. And I thought, oh yeah, that's actually quite like
Yeah.
yeah, that's
quite
good.
sense, like quite a straightforward thing to do, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. The hardest thing with them sort of things is because it's like the standard, when you buy a treadmill, an exercise bike, a pull-up bar for your doorway or anything like that, they end up collecting dust and they end up getting stuck on Facebook Marketplace like a month later.
Yeah,
So it's creating some sort of accountability. So I mean, she's obviously got some good discipline and willpower to do that. And obviously maybe it's just there at the stairs as a visual reminder as well. So she's got to do it. She sees it and does it, a bit like drinking a bottle of water. If it's there, it's a reminder. It's trying to still have that obviously almost like a consequence of if I don't do it, rather than just like it's a hard one to master, that one. But yeah, I like
yeah,
that, and that's the
yeah.
kind of the question here really is like what small changes can you make or have you made to increase your needs? So like a common one for me, and a bit like you, Lucy, is I'll walk the kids to school. I maybe don't have loads of time sometimes, but I'll try my best to drive half the way, park at Lidl, for example, and then just do that 5 minute walk, like park and ride or whatever it's called, for whatever school call it.
Mhm.
Just for starters, it's better for parking and it's not getting away of all the buses and all the madness down there. But then it's like, say, if it's just a nice little walk, a little catch up with my son or whatever, like that's like a little way of how I increase my needs before then, and maybe start my office day and do my check-ins or anything like that. And it could be I'm just going to do a bit of a warm up on the treadmill, before I do my weight session, and it could be anything like that, or a bit like what you were saying, Lucy, about the ironing. That is a perfect example of here's my dedicated time, rather than sat ironing, watching Love Island or whatever you do. Then it's just like, yeah, I'm going to go up and down the stairs and turn it into like a bit of a task. Have you got any more that you kind of implement throughout your day to try and raise your steps up?
It's like I don't walk to work, and even though I don't live far, because the few times I have, it's always inevitable that there's a blooming emergency and I need my car. So I've ended up having to go home and get my car, which is really annoying.
I can remember you was biking at one point, weren't you?
Yeah, I have biked a few times. Yeah, I have biked, but I just generally I've made a point kind of since I've been really tracking my steps and like really trying to be on it.
Hmm.
When I'm at work, I do make a point of going out at break or dinner when the kids are out, and I
Hmm.
just do like laps of the field with the kids, not in a like
Yeah.
charging around laps of the field, but almost like an extra dinner lady, if you like, and I'll just like
Yeah.
amble out and just do. And I've made, like really tried to sort of schedule in actually physically leaving my office for at least maybe like 10 minutes in the morning when they're out, 10 minutes on an afternoon, and then like maybe 20 minutes or so at dinner. So I'm actually getting out of this chair and physically, that's quite good for getting some daylight as well. Because one
Yeah.
of the worst things I find, particularly this next term, I come to work in the dark and I go home in the dark, and that
Yeah.
can be really bleh if you don't actually make an effort to physically go outside during the day.
Yeah, 100%. And that's going more down the lines of like vitamin D and seasonal
Yeah,
depression and stuff like that, isn't it? Just trying to get out into have that break and get away from screens as well and things like that. And yeah, even just releasing them feel good endorphins, fresh air, moving, getting your heart rate up a little bit. I say it's
yeah.
the big game changer sometimes.
It can easily become quite depressing, like
Yeah,
during the winter,
yeah, definitely.
just
Yeah.
sat in not getting outside. So that
Yeah, and
that
that's something that I don't necessarily do in the winter months of like Lucy will know about this because like cricket season, end of football season or the start of football season, you still got some pretty good daylight. You can be doing laps of the football pitch, laps around the park. While the kids are, you still can keep an eye on the kids and they're obviously training or playing matches. You can be pretty active, shorts and t-shirt, headphones on, or chatting to your mates rather than getting your deck chair out and sat in your car and stuff like that. So that generally changes, and that's when we need to prepare for different strategies when it comes to seasonable, getting your steps in or getting your needs up, and that's when people do buy walk pads or go indoors and use the gym a little bit more, or just try and simply move around like your house in your environment a little bit more. All them little just walk around the kitchen or dance in the kitchen or whatever. It all adds up over time. Cool. So this is a bit of a breakdown of our total daily energy expenditure. So if you think about all the calories we burn throughout the day while we're sleeping, while we're awake, the whole 24 hours, this is the standard sort of breakdown. Okay, so if I break this down a little bit, so TDEE is total daily energy expenditure. So when you guys come to me as clients, I send you questionnaires. I ask you things like, I obviously know what your gender is, but I'll find out your gender, your age, your height, your body weight, and then your overall activity levels, which can vary because you might be super sedentary, not tracking your steps, not training in the gym or home or anything yet. But then I'm kind of predicting what your future activity levels will be like when you like join my program, for example, because we're going to set you step targets, we're going to set you exercise targets, we're going to, if you're doing classes, sport, anything else, running clubs. So we're taking all that into consideration. So there's a tiny little bit of guessing there with activity levels. Everything else is a pretty definitive number. And obviously, you're going to age, so that'll change over time, and that can affect your overall total daily energy expenditure. But all them one, two, three, four, all them five things are put into the pot, equation comes out, and then we work out your maintenance calories. So how many calories you burn throughout your day. Okay, and that is going to be a mixture of all this graph that you can see, all this bar thing. Okay, so you've got EAT, TEF, NEAT, and BMR. Okay, so as you can see, BMR is your basal metabolic rate. That is how many calories you burn. A big 70% of the calories you burn throughout the day is just like living and breathing. Your heart beating, well, not food digesting, that's a different one. Heart beating, organs working, just like breathing, being alive, taking in oxygen, all that usual stuff. Okay, then the second biggest one, which we've already talked about, is NEAT. Okay, so you're going to be burning more calories up to 15% per day just by moving. This isn't planned exercise. This isn't going to the gym. This isn't playing sport. This isn't doing crazy hit classes or anything like that. This is simply, moving throughout your day. DIY, cleaning, playing with the kids, getting the kids ready for school, anything like that. Just generally not being sat sedentary, sticking to like sleeping, BMR stuff. We're kind of moving, being more active. And this is where someone like I think construction like bricklayers are still have the biggest amount of NEAT with them, even over personal trainers. I believe from that last sort of research that I read. So someone who's in construction, who's maybe your cement mixers, laying bricks, barriering stuff up and down ladders, scaffolders, things like that, they're going to burn a hell of a lot of calories. But unfortunately, they're the guys that are also probably at the pub most nights and eating crap food as well. So, but someone like that is going to have a really high NEAT level compared to, say, an office worker or a taxi driver or a lorry driver, someone who's sat on the bum all day long and only just tapping keys or changing gears or something like that, like low NEAT levels. So someone like that is going to have to make a lot more conscious effort to do maybe more planned walks and kind of move more outside of their, say they're doing an 8 to 12 hour shift, they're then going to have to try and raise their NEAT levels up outside of them sedentary times. Whereas a brickie, for example, might not have to worry about that. They might already get like 20, 30,000 steps in, go home, maybe walk the dog, maybe still go to the gym. I don't know, it depends what the routine is and who they are. And then the third one is TEF, which is the thermal effects of food. So we actually burn more calories throughout our day just digesting and like processing food. And this is only a small increase, really, but by having a higher protein diet, protein is a lot harder to break down in our body, in our digestive system compared to like fats and carbs. Okay, so by having a high protein diet as well, not only does it fill us up for longer and suppresses your hunger, which is great, it also helps maintain and grow muscle tissue, which is awesome. But it also actually takes more calories to burn as well. So we're actually burning more calories just breaking down protein. So that's always something I sort of talk about when it's the benefits of protein, or one of the benefits of protein. There's loads of benefits of protein. But the last one, which probably surprises a lot of people, is EAT, which is exercise activity thermogenesis. So this obviously can be manipulated. Like if you're a marathon runner training for a marathon, and you're also a bricklayer, or you're also doing a hell of a lot of other movements, your EAT can be bigger. Obviously, someone who trains 2 times a week in the gym is going to be smaller EAT compared to someone who trains 5 times in the gym. but it's still going to be a smaller amount. If you think about when you go to the gym, especially if you take into consideration any of your rest breaks and things like that, or even an exercise class, you are not like constantly on the go. Well, maybe are for some classes, but you are not constantly on the go for that whole, say, 60-minute session. You might be in the gym and actually only put in about 30 minutes of work in between your rests and your warm-ups, your cool downs, your stretching. Okay, so we're not really in the gym at all to burn calories. We're in the gym to lift weights, to get stronger, for our muscles, for our bone density, and then all the rest of our fat loss stuff wants to be in the kitchen and then raising up our NEAT levels and getting our steps in. Is all that making sense?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just rushing through it a little bit because I think I've got quite a few slides. This I can't remember where I got this table from. This is quite an old presentation, but it's a bit of more of a guideline. But walking for fat loss, walking burns calories and can support a calorie deficit. So it doesn't necessarily create a calorie deficit. The best way to create a calorie deficit is reduce your calories down and monitor your intake, which is your food, obviously. Okay, so we don't want you've all probably heard of you can't outwalk or outtrain a bad diet. So when it comes to fat loss, it's all about calorie deficit through controlling your diet and nutrition, not through brutal exercise or like a hell of a lot of steps. Think calorie deficit is all about your food intake, monitoring what goes in, and then sort of working on what goes out as well as in raising your activity levels up. Okay, so it's going to lower. It's low impact. Oh, this is the best thing as well. It's low impact. It's free. It's easy. It's sustainable. It's great for mental health, fresh air, vitamin D. Do it with the kids. Do it with the dog. It's like the easiest, most accessible thing to do. The only thing that it is consuming is our time. Obviously, all depends on time. That's the main thing. Especially busy parents, shift workers, anyone really. We all live busy lives. That's the main thing that it can consume. You can't just have a 5K run, for example, trying to do it in around about 30 minutes. You're going to get the job done, get all your steps in, higher calorie burn compared to like a 5K walk, for example, which might be double the time and obviously not as intense. So it all depends how you tackle things. But the good thing about a 5K walk versus a 5K run, like you're not going to be tired, you're not going to be cramping, you're not going to be weak, you're not going to have any muscle soreness, you're not then going to be inactive the rest of the day because you're knackered out, you're not going to then be snacky and hungry afterwards. The good thing about walking is it's sustainable. It doesn't really have a massive impact in our lives, whereas the negative effect of doing a 20-minute hardcore hit session is then you're going to be like, yeah, I've ticked that box. I'm not going to do anything else for the rest of my day. So you would have actually been better off maybe trying to get your 10,000 steps in rather than dancing around your living room for 20 minutes thinking, oh, wow, that's my exercise done for the day. It doesn't quite balance out the best that way. And this is just a general sort of, like I say, I can't remember where I got it from, but like just sitting down is going to burn 60, 70 calories, standing, walking, moderate walking. And that can be a big difference, by the way, of just maybe like not necessarily jogging or running, but just going for a slightly more brisk walk, like almost like getting PBs when you're walking. Just going from that 3 mile an hour to the 4 mile an hour can top up them steps and boost the calories a little bit. And when we had that last walk, I think you was a prime example of that, Lucy, when we had a bit of get together and there's like you and Abby were miles in front of us all, and you was just like walking and talking. You just had like your strut on, and I think that's a big benefit. You're going to get a hell of a lot more steps in just by slightly picking up your pace. And yeah, I bet your kids are running after you on the school run. Actually, I like
Oh, yeah, yeah. Do like a little gallop next to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Oh, can't wait for that next week.
Yeah. And this is where we talk about strength training, okay? Or this, I'm not going to go too much into it. This could be a whole different presentation. But strength training is the perfect partner to walking. Okay, the benefits of strength training is obviously we're building or maintaining lean muscle. Okay, we're boosting metabolism, going to be burning more calories. A nice strong lean muscle, feeling healthy, feeling active, feeling tight, feeling toned. And obviously, if we're linking that in with a calorie deficit, we're then not losing strength, losing muscle, losing that tone and shape of our body, and feeling like this zombie picture I've put here. Okay, so this zombie's like, I've lost 14 pounds thanks to Slimming World. But yeah, mate, you look shit though, and you look like you're drained. You've got bags under your eyes. You're all wobbly. You've got no muscle. You've got bad posture. You're not definitely doing it in a sustainable, healthy way. You've just crash dieted. You're probably binge out on a load of shit food again, and you're not, tracking your steps. You're not getting your strength training in. You're not doing it in a healthy, sustainable way. And unfortunately, this is kind of what we're seeing with like GLP-1 injections and things now as well. I was actually at the gym reception this morning. I think he was a golfer. I was at Forest Pines. And the guy at reception was like, "Oh, you're looking good, mate. You've lost loads of weight." He was like, "Yeah, I've been on Monjaro, lost 5 stone." And they were going, "Oh, I don't think it is. Have you been in the gym?" And he's like, "Oh no, I've not been in the gym. I'm still supping my pints and stuff like this." He was saying, "I'm like, yeah, you definitely, that's definitely
So it's hard, isn't it? I try not to be that guy that's going, yeah, you've been a div. Because obviously, like loads of my social circle are taking it. Loads more are taking it than are admitting to it.
yeah,
Because it's actually really quite obvious that they are.
Yeah.
hmm
But like one of my friends, like she's on like 800 calories a day or something ridiculous like that, which she's essentially getting from red wine, crisps, and Haribo.
yeah, yeah,
Like, and I'm just like crying out loud.
yeah,
Another one of my friends, she's been taking it because she's lost 5 stone. She looks like she does look, different. But she's still eating rubbish. I went round the other day and there's a pile of flipping Domino's boxes. I was like, oh yeah, it's helping you, loads that. She was like, oh yeah, but I don't eat as much. I'm only eating half a pizza instead of a whole one. Brilliant. So yeah, that's dead good for you.
yeah,
And it's really hard not to be that guy going, yeah, you've been a div. Like it ain't
yeah,
actually going to help. It's not doing anything for your hair, your skin, your general
yeah.
lifestyle. But then you sound a bit like the know-it-all that guy, don't you?
Yeah.
But
You with your personal trainer.
yeah. But no,
So
what I am seeing is people might start off on that a bit like they might start off on any diet, Slimming World or cutting out carbs or anything, and that might be a starting point, and that might be then the trigger to then be like, right, I've lost the weight, but now I'm a bit worried that I am losing my muscle. I'm not going to be able to sustain it. I'm paying 150 quid a month for these injections, and now want to make sure that I then transfer. And I'm seeing that myself now, where people
yeah,
are reaching out to me and saying, right, I've got my kickstart, and now I'm worried that I'm going to ease myself off, and I'm going to put it all back on like any other diet.
Hmm.
And so
oh,
I think
in a way, they're the good
I,
people that maybe have got a bit of a head start, and then
yeah,
then they come in, and as long as it all works out well for them. But
yeah,
then yeah, there's obviously them ones that it's just like, oh no, you're not, that's not going to end up well.
yeah.
And then
I'm
not to mention like side
yeah.
effects and stuff as well for some people.
I'm not convinced any of my friends are going to suddenly start going to the gym, Sam.
Yeah, uh,
They're liking the bin fin, but I'm not sure they're at the trying to
yeah.
improve their overall health stage.
But, yeah, just see how it
So.
all goes for them, like 6 months down the line, I suppose. But yeah, we'll move on from that one. We could talk all day, I suppose. So yeah, just to finish off the strength section. So ideally, we want to be aiming for a minimum of 2 to 3, like full body, for example, strength sessions per week. So that could be at home, that could be in the gym. And I wouldn't class like Pilates and body weight and that as strength as such. Generally, resistance training where you're lifting weights progressively, trying to get stronger, just like you guys do as part of your program, for example. That's for anyone else watching. And yeah, that's a question for not for you guys really, and this won't really apply to you guys as well, really. But obviously, we talked about strength, we talked about getting your steps in, but then obviously the importance about nutrition and fueling your body the right way as well. Okay, so if you're in, like say, if you're eating 800 calories a day, you're going to be very depleted, very drained. Probably not going to get your protein in. Probably not going to get your five a day in. Probably not going to get your micronutrients in, enough vitamins and minerals. You might even be struggling with mindset, with energy, with tiredness, with fatigue, with stress. So it's really important that we link everything we're doing with, nice, healthy, balanced, nutritious diet. And yeah, I don't need to ask you guys about this question really, but yeah, if anyone is watching this back and wants any help with their nutrition to complement their step challenge or anything to complement such as strength training, just reach out to me, let me know. And the same for this one as well. This is another one that said these are all part of like your non-negotiable targets that I'm obviously kind of bringing up and highlighting. So sleep is where all the magic happens. Okay, there's no such thing as overtraining, but there is a such thing as under recovering. Okay, you can train like an absolute machine. Okay, but if you're not then getting enough sleep, nutrition, hydration, rest, recovery time, this is where like the magic happens, where your joints recover, your protein synthesis works, and you're gonna repair and rebuild, and energy levels increase, and hunger hormones regulate. So sleep 7 to 8 hours obviously is the optimal amount, the best you can. And if you do struggle with your sleep, it might be a case of you're eating crap food, you're staying up too late, you're on TikTok, you're scrolling, you're watching Netflix, you haven't got a routine, or it could be uncontrollable, like you've got a newborn baby and you're doing the night feeds at the moment. So obviously there's going to be times where it's just going to be you in the trenches, in the trenches as a new parent for a little bit. But then there's them other times where it's just like, I know this is common for parents where they get the kids to bed and it's like finally adult time, and then the next thing you know they're up till like 1 in the morning, when really they're probably better off going to bed and going to sleep at the same time as when the kids go to bed, because they're going to feel a hell of a lot better the next morning. They're going to feel refreshed. Like I say, you're not going to be all like hungry and low on energy, and then so you're not even going to be motivated to even just get your lace up your trainers and go for a little bit of a 5 minute walk around the block, if you don't have adequate sleep. Hydration and stress management. Let's check how many I've got. Oh, I think yeah, that's about it really. So last one's the hydration, stress management really. So staying hydrated as well. See hydration is like energy. Okay, if you're dehydrated, you're going to be like headaches, like say deflated, low motivation. Your body needs to be hydrated. Aim for 1 to 2 liters of water a day. Simple. I know Lucy still does this and talks about this quite a lot, but just morning habits, morning routines of like a glass of water, hydrate as soon as you woke up. Okay, you've not drank for hopefully 8 hours because you've just been asleep. Okay, so you've like just done an 8 hour fast there, really. So the first thing you want to be doing is hydrating. Before you grab a black coffee or before you even start eating or anything, really, you want to have like a nice, at least a glass of water. It doesn't necessarily matter on the measurement, but we want to be aiming for at least 1 to 2 throughout the day, like males, females, and then maybe even more if it's like an active day, or a hot day. So yeah, it's like energy, it's brain power, it's cognitive functions, it's all them sort of things. Muscle recovery, like cramping, it just yeah helps stay nice and hydrated. And then even things like just taking a water bottle out on a walk with you. Yeah, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So I take it for a walk, have it in your car, have it on your desk, just like a constant visual reminder. A bit like your friend who's walking up and down with a weight plate at the bottom of the stairs and things like that. Stress management. So everything we just talked about is stress management. Just simply looking after yourself, sleeping, hydrating, nutrition, walking, fresh air, vitamin D, sunshine, doing it with the family, being with your pets, walking the dog. That's all stress management. It's always a de-stressing, especially if you are stressed at work or anything like that. And just simply little things like Adeline was saying, like just trying to get out in the limited sunlight in wintertime on a lunch break, even if it's like a 3 minute walk around the playing fields or whatever it is, just pop out and get away from your screen, away from that sat down, hunched over position. Just getting them small steps in to manage your day a little bit. Yeah, taking a breath, have a bit of time, have a break. But stress management as well, just going outside the movement things could be, I just want to sit down and watch TV. I want to watch some reality crappy TV for a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a form of stress management. But so is the, like I say, the slightly more positive stuff, like maybe, or even just like having a nice soak in the bath, reading a book, having an early night, just trying to get away from technology a little bit would be my biggest sort of one. That's why people like go for a run, go for a walk, play sports, and yeah, do the stuff that's going to raise your heart levels up a little bit, as well as the chill them and bring them back down as well. Have you guys got any sort of general unwind things you like to do? Is it things like
Uh,
going for a walk or your runs or anything like that, or is it something a bit more chilled out?
yeah, I guess I walking the dogs are good, like for me. I do just quite like being out in the countryside with the dog. Um, definitely going for a run, but actually sometimes just the gym as well. When you've had a rubbish day, just like
Yeah, yeah.
and like go chuck some heavy stuff about for a bit.
Mm,
Um, equally, I am a terrible trashy TV watcher, so well, like a
yeah.
bit. I'd say a bit of everything, really.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it until my mate said. My mate watches like him and his missus will watch things like Love Island or whatever the reality TV stuff is, and then his kind of comeback to when we give him a bit of jip about it is like you don't have to think, like you can
Yeah,
just there's not like a in-depth drama or like murder mystery where you've got to know all the characters and find out where it's going. It's just like I've had
he's
a
right.
stressful day at work. I've took the kids to bed. I don't really have to engage with it too much, and I'm just chilling out watching some crap TV, and I kind of get that in a way. So there's a time and a place for that sort of stuff as well. It's all about, like I say, balancing all these sort of things. A bit like your diet. You can have a pizza hut with the kids or whatever, or a glass of wine and a takeaway on a night out. It's all about balancing these things out in the right ratios.
Mm.
And that leads into being a role model and involving the family as well. I say you don't have to like try and get a childcare or like work around the kids too much. Sometimes if you are a parent or if you're just doing it with your partner who maybe don't want to do it, you might be trying to drag he or she with you as well. So walking and fitness as a family, it's all about setting being a positive role model, setting good examples. Um, healthy, healthy kids and healthy parents will obviously foster and turn them into healthy adults themselves, and then that'll be your future grandkids or anything, I suppose. Like if you think about the way you're passing all this on down the family tree. I ideas for family activities. So, like I say, it doesn't have to be like so let's just go on a walk. I'm quite lucky that I live near the ponds and the woods and the fields, so it's not just like I'm off to go walk through Brig. I will if we did like a lockdown walk. I can remember that's some really good core memories for me. It was just literally walking around the ponds and the fields nearly every day with the kids when I was younger and through them like lockdown days. And we still do that a bit now, but it'd be maybe a bit more like they're on scooters or they're biking and I'm walking or I'm running. Or it's when they're playing sports and I'm moving around or at the park or anything like that. And I say that doesn't have to be with kids, that can be with dogs, that can be with your partner, that could be with your grandparents. I can remember pushing my like 90-year-old gran in a wheelchair and taking her down the river walk and things like that when she was about. So just like I say, linking in with family activities as well. And I know you guys do that. I say you're either doing like your triathlete stuff or your crazy runs, Adeline, or you're doing it with the cricket, the football, the school runs, Lucy. So yeah, I know you guys are all good with that sort of merging them worlds together. And then the last bit is just wrap ups and key take homes. So walking and neat for daily movement. So we're always it's such an easy trackable free thing to do as well. So even if you need to buy like it doesn't have to be a Garmin or a Apple Watch, even if you just get like a basic pedometer, like a basic, I don't even know what they're called, like just some sort of cheap Fitbit sort of thing off Amazon or anything, like you want to be tracking your steps if you're not got your phone on you. I know that can be challenging for some people. I know some people can't always track their full day's worth of steps if it's like I can't wear devices at work, or I'm a nurse or something like that, where I can't have anything on my arms. There's this or like construction or something, I don't know. So there is times where you can't necessarily always track your steps, but even if it's a bit gappy, I'd still do it to see how active you are when you're out of work and you're doing your more normal sort of social life or with the kids or family or weekends. Pairing walks with strength training, balanced diet, good sleep, stress. This is basically the non-negotiables that we'll kind of implement as part of like a program like you guys are on. So we've got like your strength training 2 to 3 times a week. We've got your daily non-negotiables like hitting your protein, staying within your calories, trying to get 7 to 8 hours sleep in, water. Yeah, all them combined is you're gonna live a happier, stronger, leaner, healthier lifestyle. Keep talking, keep taking small steps because they'll make big changes. So maybe when you think like that little 5 minute walk, it's not worth it, or just parking a little bit further away from the supermarket, it's not worth it. It's raining a little bit or anything like that. It will all compound. It'll all add up. All them little extra meters over the whole course of like September, for example, the whole 30 days is going to add up as well. Um, and the secret to raising active kids is being active yourself. They're not always going to do what we say, but they're going to do what we do, and they're going to mimic us, they're going to mirror us, they're going to copy us, just like they maybe do with their friends or the YouTube followers or anything like that. So it's like, don't necessarily just bark orders at them if you're not doing it yourself, really. You be the example, you show them how it's done. And that's about it. What's one new habit you're excited to try? I suppose this one's maybe for next week and not necessarily a habit for you guys, but obviously we're in September next week. I suppose one of the main ones is like the school walking for you, Lucy, is it? Is there
Yeah,
anything you're mainly looking forward to
yeah,
implementing new or implementing that you had before the school holidays or anything like that? Is it mainly the routine and the walking?
yeah. It is. And I did say to the boys actually, just today, because there's been all this on the news about inflammation and reducing the amount of processed foods and sugars and stuff that you have as well. And I said, I think we're gonna try and reduce that even more today. I was talking about it this morning. I think it's really important that they have an understanding about about foods and calories and at a very low level. And like you said, it's been a role model, isn't it? And and snacking and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to try and think, right, do you know what? One day a week, we're going to try and have a day where we have no processed foods at all, and everything's, just to see if they can, because I think, if they are linking all these cancers with, alcohol and processed foods, refined sugars, I think then it's our responsibility as parents to try and reduce this, and it's potentially the next generation of cancers, isn't it, that we can potentially reduce. So that's my next thing that I'm thinking. I sort of planted the seed with them this morning in conversation, really, when we was talking about going back to school and stuff next week, and but I think that's something I'm definitely going to start doing and thinking about, and just make it more of a challenge as a family. Like, they get to choose a meal, but it's got to be completely unprocessed, like, for the whole day. So what we're going to have for breakfast, it's going to be one day a week, just to see if they can do it, and just something like that. So that's something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I think that sounds really cool. That sounds good. And then it'll be like, it'll help you with just time management and meal prepping as well.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, you might want to try new recipes, or like say you're obviously still going to try and focus on staying within your calories and hitting your protein targets. So you know that they're going to be high protein, low calorie, nutritious, nutrients dense foods. And it's I suppose it sounds quite simple, really. Like I say, it could be a chicken stir fry with lots of fresh fruits. It could be like more fruit in the morning. It could be like steak and veg at night or something. I don't know. Like, it's easier said than done. Really, it's just that just doing it, isn't it? Sometimes it's so easy to grab and go.
Like, when we're all busy and we've got to go out, the next sport's coming up, we've got to be out in half an hour. It's so easy to turn to things like that's more processed. Well, actually, right, let's try and do something, and maybe one day a week where we don't have any processed foods that particular day, all of us, for breakfast, dinner and tea, and see how, just to kind of get them in that thought process of what's a better option to take. Is particularly, I think, since they've this research has now been produced, this could be a potential trigger that's causing all these cancers that they're finding difficult to treat. Is it in our day-to-day lifestyle?
I also think, Lucy, I've seen some research over the holidays, because I am that geeky. There's now a lot of connections, they're reckoning, around this massive increase in ADHD in particular. They reckon that I read an article, and essentially what it said was the children don't need a diagnosis, they need a different environment. And it was talking about the impact of high sugar diets, processed food, and why ADHD don't exist, particularly in like Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and it kind of doesn't exist because they don't have the rubbish diet that like the developed world has. So that was a really interesting article, and something I'm going to share with some of my parents. That where they're sort of saying, "Oh, I'm really struggling with my child's behaviour. Can we have a diagnosis?" I'm sort of thinking maybe there's some things we could look at first around definitely screen time, but around some like conversations about diet, which is tricky, but it was really interesting. Some really interesting.
I've not looked into it to myself. I've not looked into any of that myself, but you kind of do think about that and worry that as a parent of kids who do love sugary sweets, who, like Jack, does pop to the shop himself now, and they are on dopamine scrolling hits, aren't they? Just flicking like low attention span. So you can see how
it was really interesting.
Spamming that brain in that way, isn't it? Really. So,
and it was saying if they've done it before 5, some of those there's a fancy word for it, but I can't remember. But some of the connections in the brain that allow us longer term concentration, if they're not developed by kind of 5, 6, it's not fixable. So they were showing some particular cartoons that are particularly bad for it, because this screen changes really rapidly, and it was saying that the kids, their brains are not like getting they can't concentrate, they cannot, they're not developing that skill of watching something for ages. And it said that if it's not kind of in place by 5, 6, it isn't fixable. And again, me and one of my colleagues, we were saying, flipping heck, that we see that all the time. There's something changing in the way things are.
Something Sam said a week ago in one of these about sleep, and for the fact that it makes you hungrier and all this, that's got to have the same effect on children. And when they're not sleeping properly, they're not going to eat properly because, you know, like Sam had said, you know, you turn to sugary foods, fatty foods because your body's not rested.
Yeah.
And you think, oh God, you know, I know we're on school holidays. I'm going back to that again, but you know, so they're going to bed later. So is that why they're then choosing the wrong, you know, not making the right decisions when they're choosing the snacks they're having in the day? And it's even though it's us as adults, it's such a big reflection on how the children are.
And that's just the same for like hangovers, isn't it? Like it's not. We all know like the calories in alcohol, or we can probably sort out like budget and manage the calories in alcohol. It's not the calories, it's the consequences, because it's normally linked in with a restaurant meal or a takeaway or a night out or a late night, and we're sleep deprived. And then our mindset and our hormones are totally different. And then we're not got our steps in, we're not being active. So it's just a constant rolling negative knock-on effect from a bit of a late night, bit of booze, and bit of junk food. And like I say, we're totally different humans the next day when we woke up, even if it was just, you know, not even a heavy one, just a bit of an off-plan one. I know I definitely am. So I think things like that, really. Yeah, that's it, guys. I think my timer on my screen share is going to run out soon. So I'll let you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks, Sam.
So thanks for joining.
Thanks,
And,
guys.
I'll post this in the group. I'll catch up with you soon.
Bye.
See ya. Bye, Lucy.
Bye.
See ya.